and welcome to another episode of How She Did It. I'm Felicia Brown, AARP's lead for entrepreneurship. Today, I'm interviewing several entrepreneurs to learn about their journey of becoming small business owners. They're sharing their story with hopes of being an inspiration and motivation to you. So today, I'm talking to Peggy Hill, owner of Yoga with Peggy H, located in New York City, and Beverly Grandison, owner of Premier Health and Wellness of Chesapeake, Virginia. So ladies, welcome, and thank you for being here with us today. So let's talk a little bit about how you started your business, your journey, and perhaps any challenges you had when you were getting started. So Peggy?
Well, Felicia, I always knew that I would not work till the age of 65 and retire. I had planned it with my financial planners many years ago that I would retire early. But in doing so, I thought I would just continue as a consultant in strategy and what I used to do in the past. And thank goodness for the AARP Work for Yourself booklet. I went through that, through all of the assignments in that booklet in terms of how does one really be successful as an entrepreneur. And I decided, well, really what would be best for me would be to be a yoga instructor. And the reason for that is I'm bringing together my passion as well as my expertise. I used to practice yoga. I did it for many years, and I needed to get certified in order to teach it. But it's because I believe in active living, active longevity, and having wellness as being part of one's life. And being from an urban setting, New York City, I currently live and teach in the Bronx, so we have health challenges there. And so really it's how do we, and for me, my journey was how can I bring health and wellness to my community? And not just from an exercise perspective, but also the benefits of yoga, which is the breath work, as well as just the philosophy of yoga to an urban setting.
Great, great. That's great. So Beverly, how did you start your business?
And again, thank you so much, Felicia. Well, Premier Health and Wellness birthed out of my own health crisis, basically. And I love that we're together because you have two health and wellness practitioners, and I believe everything Peggy says and agree with it. So I was actually in the military, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, running 4 or 5 miles a day. Thought I was Bionic Woman, my hero, or for the younger ones, Wonder Woman. And chronic fatigue set in. For 2 years, couldn't shake it. That was after my Afghanistan tour. Well, fast forward the story, and they finally believed me when half my face went numb, half my taste sensories disappeared, and I couldn't lift anything with my right hand temporarily. So they had to run further tests. They ran further tests, ruled out a whole bunch of different diseases, landed on multiple sclerosis, MS. Life-altering, career-ending. And I was a lifer in the military. I had a very successful career. And I had no idea what I wanted to do because plan A, B, C was the military.
Okay.
And so we were fortunate and blessed to have amazing neighbors who lived across the street, health and wellness coaches that said, hey, you can beat this, it's in your diet, change your lifestyle. And my husband was diagnosed with Crohn's back then, another autoimmune disease, and we didn't know any better. We really thought, you know, disease, disability doctors was going to be our rite of passage. They showed us that you could use food as medicine. And we also knew that if that didn't work, we could always go back to the medication that they were recommending, right? So we made some major lifestyle changes, a lot of prayer. I'm very strict with how I eat. De-stressing, doing yoga, seriously, yeah. And we saw noticeable changes. I had all my energy back. My husband, he didn't have any flare-ups, but making these changes. And we are in total control of our health. So we started sharing it with everybody. We're like, shucks, this makes sense. And then I had partnered with another international company, the Juice Plus company, and that entire bed of education and really honing in on what it is, you know, and how do we spread this message? I was like, wow, we need to do this. And then I had some other awesome organizations. AARP is another great one. IVMF, the Institute of Military Veterans Family, that came alongside. And SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, the entrepreneurial centers, SCORE, all those amazing resources out there to help you figure out, okay, if this is something you really want to do, then let's see how we can make that happen.
Right.
And that's how really Premier Health and Wellness started. And honestly, also there was a competition too years ago with IVMF and I think it was City Salutes. And I put my name in the hat and I ended up winning the best social venture there. And I was like, whoa.
You were like, wait a minute, I'm on to something here.
Yeah. So, you know, and then that just started, and then like Peggy mentioned earlier, it is really working your purpose and your passion. That is so huge. And when you hone in on that, then you know your why.
Right. So now both of you have indicated that you're working your passion now. How did you know that, you know, wait a minute, this could be a business for me? Like, I can eat off of this. Like, when did you have that aha moment?
For me, it from the start in my financial analyses, I had set my goal that within 15 months, I need to know if I have a business. And so I spent quite a bit of time looking at my revenues, my expenses, doing what-if analyses. I figured, let me bring everything I used to do in my strategy world into this business analysis, because I think what happens is you get so tied to the idea, you don't know if you're making any profit. Because I needed to make sure that I made everyone know that I'm a profitable organization. I'm not a nonprofit.
Right.
And so initially I had individuals say, well, everyone wants a free
for
services.
Yoga session.
Everyone, you know, and I said, I understand, but I'm not a nonprofit organization.
Right.
And I really worked those numbers. And I would say the Life Plan tool that I had used, again, through the AARP pilot, it helped me do those what-if analyses. And I just knew that if it wasn't going to work out, then I would have to abort the idea, being a yoga instructor. And so I was I had to take some of the emotion out of it, because you can have passion, but the passion can drive you into bankruptcy as well.
Okay.
And so in terms of my investments, how much I would invest, and so there was tweaking going on over the first 6 to 12 months. And so I'm 15 months into the business and I am profitable. I had my idea of when I wanted to break even, when I wanted to start being profitable. And so a lot of that had to do with targeting, understanding the competition, but also targeting customers appropriately. And there's a term that one of the journalists on MSNBC, Mika Brzezinski, talks about, knowing your value. So certain jobs or certain prospects walk away from. Doesn't make sense. So it's good to have passion, but again, you have to want to pay some bills.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about competition in a minute, but Beverly, tell us, when did you realize, like, you've gone through this health journey, you've realized that this is the best thing for you and your husband to do, but at what point did you say, okay, this might be a little business for us?
Right. So we did go through a couple of tweaks, because I'm in my 5th year of business now. So this is where you pretty much, hey, is this going to do this thing or you're not going to do this? Because most businesses don't last that long. And we did that market analysis also, which is so critical for that business plan, to put that in place and understand how can you make a profit. Absolutely important. And we were first doing a lot of free stuff, right? Yeah, you should be a nonprofit or whatever. Then it became okay.
But you were just you're putting yourself out there.
Exactly, exactly, definitely. And that's good that you said that. Truly doing that stuff to position myself properly. Yeah, I totally agree with that comment. And we used to do a lot of individuals, and now I'm more into groups and corporate. So I had to tweak that to understand that, okay, maybe the individuals are not going to take you where you want to go, and you really need to get into group and corporate resources to really take it to the next level. But keeping priorities straight and learning how to say no, and learning that all money is not good money will keep you healthy and sane over the long term.
And so when is money not good money?
When you're having to compromise family, When you're having to compromise self, absolutely not a good idea to do.
So this has been amazing. This has been amazing conversation. So what do you say to other women, men, who are kind of, wanting to take the plunge?
Treat it like a business. There's a difference between business and a hobby.
That's right.
Even the IRS says so.
That's right.
And as a result, I had to do a lot of research. I knew what I was strong in, but I also knew where my weak points were, and that's important to know where you're weak. You either outsource or you bring someone in, or you have to know that. Otherwise, you will not succeed.
Yes.
It's not all about passion.
That's right.
And but I say, but it's that self-assessment work that has to be done, because once you do that, because there's going to, like the ebbs and flows, there will be days you're saying, why am I doing this today? Things happen, and that's what keeps you going. And to me, that's the most important thing, because if you treat it as a business and you understand the numbers are real. The numbers speak for themselves.
And when we say numbers, we're talking about numbers of clients, or
your P&L,
oh, okay.
your
the
cash
numbers,
flow,
whether you're making money or you're not making
your
money.
cash flow,
Right.
your
Right.
return on investment.
Right.
And it's like, oh, my account will figure that out. I read the IRS rules before I even talk to my accountant. I mean,
Smart.
you have to. I have my Excel spreadsheet to monitor what I'm doing, understand my costs. Those things are real about the business.
What I tell younger people, or even anybody who's wanting to get into this business, and Peggy, you touched on it, be true to self. Be true to self, know your why, and then put yourself in community with like-hearted people. We've heard it before, and I forget who said it. We're the composite of the 5 people we hang around with.
And if we're the smartest person in the group,
You're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
You're tapped out. That's right.
It's a wrap.
That's right. So put yourself in, align yourself. That's what I've done. I've aligned myself with some amazing organizations along my journey that are very reputable, that are stable and lasting companies. Okay, so even coming to do AARP, this is an amazing company.
But you've also centered yourself around some amazing people who
Correct.
believe in you.
Correct.
And believe in what you're doing.
Correct. And that helps out a lot. You have to have a support base. And Peggy mentioned something earlier too. And then I'm going to tell people, if you're going to start out, again, use the resources that are out there, okay? And not get frustrated. The resources are there. Sometimes it can be feeling like you're at a fire hydrant. Whoa, what do I do with all this information? Because that's how I started. It was like, whoa, what do I do with all of this? But then you start to chunk it down and start attending the classes and the conferences. You're going to have to invest in that kind of stuff. Get mentors, okay? And if you don't have one, seek them out. Seek out who's doing what you think you might want to do, and read their story and get to know them. I was listening to, is it Damon?
Damon John.
Yeah, his book, Go for Something Broke. It's a really good book.
Right.
All right. And he was saying, when you're coming to these people to ask them for help, get to know them. Know what it is that they do. Care enough about them to say, hey, I see how I can add benefit to your life too, and not just suck. My mama used to call them gimme gangsters. Just want to just take and never give. So you have to be a big giver. Be a big giver and be and care about people. It's an amazing journey once you really are true to self and figure out how you can add so much more benefit to this world.
So I think I heard 3 things. Be true to self.
Yes.
All money is not good money.
Yep.
And stay grounded.
Yes, stay humble.
Stay humble in
Yeah.
who you are.
Definitely.
And
Get your
whatever
spiritual
it
world.
is that you are pursuing, you will be
Successful.
at.
Treat it like a business, though.
Yeah, not a hobby.
Treat it like
It's not
it's
a
not a
hobby.
hobby.
Did that a couple years.
Right.
I did.
No, it's
Yeah.
But you see, that's just me.
Yeah.
That's my strategy side
Right.
coming in.
Yeah, I like
Great.
Peggy because Peggy is black and white now. So, and I love it though because you stay on top of them numbers. You got to stay on top. That's what sinks most businesses.
Hopefully you were inspired by Peggy and Beverly's stories. Thank you ladies for sharing, and thank you for watching. I hope you would tune in for our next episode of How She Did It.